Hello. How's it going? I'm on the road again. Just traveling through. Just wanted to say thanks, Bro Jay, for that video. I just finished it up, and for all you out there, hello. And just been doing some studying about end times things, and just looking at different viewpoints and what has biblical evidence, and just studying deeper and just really cool stuff. So thank you, Brother Jay, for the video, and I loved what you said. Spot on with the Day of the Lord topic, about the Day of the Lord starting basically, when this Daniel 70th week begins, and that being all of the Day of the Lord until it was for this, it's like, now I think I'm just going to clarify this. So you said through the tribulation, so rapture of the church at the beginning, Day of the Lord begins. The Day of the Lord is like all the seals, all the judgments, all the, revelation. And then Christ comes down the Mount of Olives at the end of, now is it 6 years? And then, because we know the millennial reign is 1,000 years. So is it the tribulation? Now I'm confusing myself. Sorry, I gotta read. But I get what you're saying is the tribulation and the Day of the Lord is the tribulation period. And then the Day of the Lord is not the wrath and judgment during, like, it ends before the millennial reign, because the millennial is the peace, the peace, the Christ kingdom set up. And yes, there'll be people that will choose not to follow Christ and whatnot. And I love the passages you shared about Isaiah, and it's talking, the references of on that day, talking about the day of when Christ's kingdom is set up in the millennial. Yes, those are so great. Yeah, the lion, lies down with the lamb, or the wolf lies down with the lamb, and oh my goodness, all that Mandela effect stuff surrounding that's interesting. But anyway, the main concept there is the peace and Christ's rule. And then the end of the millennial is when Satan is released, and there is a short final battle. I don't know if you even call it a battle, but basically Satan is released, and all those that are deceived, or all those that, reject Christ, even the millennial, not us, the church and glorified bodies, but those that are alive after the tribulation, and they reject Christ, and then the devil's released. They have, now I was told that that's like a final Gog-Magog battle. I don't know what you think about that one. Sorry, I'm bringing up another question. You answered all those questions. Thank you for doing that. That was, going through MacArthur thing. The wording in that commentary was just really funky, and so it was good clarification about the actual Day of the Lord. It can't start when Christ touched down on the Mount of Olives, because that's like when the millennial reign's going to start. So anyway, but there is the final, when Christ comes with us, there's the battle where he, destroys them with the word, that the sword that comes out of his mouth. He says the word or whatever, Satan's destroyed. We come back with Christ. There's that one. And then his feet touch down on the Mount of Olives after that happens, or like in conjunction with that. That's my understanding. Or maybe his foot touches down and then like release, then the sword comes. I don't know. I think in Revelations it's like in Revelation it talks about him coming from the clouds with those, his faithful chosen followers, and with the sword coming, and it's the devil's destroyed. Anyway, then Christ's kingdom set up, Mount Olives split in two, millennial reign, and then at the end of that, there's like when Satan's released for a short time, and he has like there's a quick little battle, and then it's like new heavens and new earth. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the kind of timeline that we were talking about there. Also, okay, really cool what you said about the apostasy being kind of that new age, not a new age, but the false Christianity, the dominionism, being, yeah, and also along with the religion of the Chrislam, right? The Chrislam, that's like Judaism, Islam, Christian, all one faith, new alien, weirdo religion like thing that the Antichrist is going to endorse, and that being a falling away of those left behind. And also what you said, the apostasy, it's also the removal of the church, because when the church is removed, then the great deception happens, and also the apostasy of, the taking over of this false religion. So that was that's a really interesting view that I've heard. I don't think I've heard that exactly explained that way. I've kind of heard bits and pieces of a similar thing, but that makes sense. And I think why I really like that is because it fits with scripture, as you were talking about the mountaintops. Like you're on a mountaintop and you see another one, and sometimes just the main point is there's multiple meanings to things in the Bible. There's just it's more often than not that there's just multiple meanings to either prophecy or a certain thing like that, like the great apostasy, or even like we're talking about the day of the Lord, which is not just one day. It's talking about the time of Christ's judgment. And then, I think in there is what I was talking about, like I mentioned about the three different like day of the Lord type of interpretation. Like, is it at the beginning of Daniel's 70th week? Is it start at mid-trib, 3.5 years in? Or like what we thought MacArthur was talking about is like at the end of the tribulation when the Lord touches down on the Mount of Olives. But maybe, it is all the day of the Lord, but maybe it's even kind of like, you can kind of view it in that way of like the beginning of the day of the Lord, and maybe the middle of like the day, that day, like judgment time, basically not, one day, but judgment time in the middle, because then Satan, the AC is indwelt with Satan. And then at the end, when the Lord comes and touches down the Mount of Olives, boom, it's split in two. Like that's like, boom, his final, like the end of that period of time of judgment. And then that little war at the end after the 1,000 years, that's just like, I think that's why scholars say, it's just like a second Gog-Magog battle, because it's not even like really a battle, and it's not really tied into the day of the Lord. It's like some afterthought kind of a thingy. Anyway, just wanted to make a quick video, say thanks, and that was really encouraging and cool talk. Okay, God bless. We'll talk later.